historic flooding that happened over the course of the weekend. Many neighborhoods and businesses were hit hard, and I want all of them and all of you to know that the city is so committed. We're so committed to recovery efforts and helping to make sure our city is able to get back on track. City departments from Public Works to emergency management, the fire department, the police department, the health department as well. They're all working together, coordinating efforts in order to make sure that our neighborhoods are able to heal and move forward after the tragic flooding that happened. Now, to support recovery and secure relief funding, as I said this morning, I want to remind citizens that and businesses as well, that they should call 211 in order to report damage to their property. That's very, very important. It's going to help with our disaster declaration. So individuals, families at their residences, and business owners as well, please make sure that you call 211 and report that damage there. My team and I are working with the state and federal partners in order to access resources from FEMA. I think we discussed this a little bit ago as well. The governor was here a couple of days ago. I joined him. We toured some of the damage here in Milwaukee. The governor has declared an emergency here, and so now we're asking for the federal government to do their part and issue some relief to folks here in Milwaukee with some assistance from FEMA. So again, we've made the request, the governor's made the request, now we're waiting on President Donald Trump's administration to administer FEMA aid to people who live here in Milwaukee. I want to just remind folks that if you see street flooding, if you see downed trees, if you see vehicles that may be stranded or other hazards, please report them to us. We want to be out there, we want to be proactive, and we are being proactive, but we can't see everything at the same time in all places. So please report anything that you see out there to us. You can call us at 414-286-CITY. That's 414-286-2489. If you see any of those hazards that are out there in Milwaukee, please report those to us. You can also use the Milwaukee mobile app. So go to your app store and find that and report those things to us as well. This timely reporting allows our crews to act very quickly. As I said before, I want to thank folks in Milwaukee. There are so many neighbors out there who are stepping up to help their fellow neighbors. They're helping seniors to clean out their basements. They've cleared some of the storm sewer grates across Milwaukee. They're doing so many things in order to help with the recovery effort, and we really appreciate the efforts of people all across our city who are stepping up to make this a safer place for everybody as we work to get through the aftermath of the storm. Again, I want to help everybody checking in on somebody vulnerable, simply showing care. Ultimately, what that is this city. It's Milwaukee at its best. And we've seen this over the course of the last several months, too, that when there are big challenges that are facing the city, folks step up. And that's the city that I know, that's the city that I love, that's the city that I'm proud to lead as mayor. The Milwaukee Health Department has been on the ground since the very, very beginning of these flood incidents, working alongside city departments and community partners to ensure safety, to ensure health, and support all across our city. And so I'm going to have Commissioner Todoritis from the Milwaukee Health Department to come to the mic now, but lastly I'll just say that we're a resilient city. We always have been, we always will be, and we'll get through this together. All of us together, rolling up our sleeves, getting to the bottom of this. All of us will work to make sure that Milwaukee's a better place, not just through this, but after this as well. We'll face this challenge and we'll keep moving this city forward. So thank you again for covering this. It's really, really important. Folks in Milwaukee need to see, need to hear what's going on and get these updates. So thank you all in the media for doing that. And for now, I'll turn it over to Mike Todoritis, Dr. Mike Todoritis, the Commissioner of the Milwaukee Health Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Todoritis. I'm the Commissioner of Health for the City of Milwaukee Health Department. Here with the Mayor to talk about what's been going on in the city and to underscore some really key points. One of those is that 211 is your best connection to resources at this point. So you can call 211 to make those damage reports. There are some large wait times on 211 during these peak hours. So if you can use a mobile device or a friend's phone or a computer to submit that report electronically, there's a lot of links to that damage report to actually put that report there. I would ask every Milwaukeean and anyone in Milwaukee County in particular to, when they're talking to their friends and family, to say, hey, did you have water in your basement? And if they say yes, say, did you put the 211 in? As the mayor mentioned, it's critically important for the region to be able to unlock dollars for federal assistance. We know many people have lost water heaters, furnaces, furniture, personal effects. There's a lot of damage that has happened. You can drive through neighborhoods across the city and see just debris and bulk items outside on someone's driveway. So this is a critical moment to get those damage reports in, and then we're also using that to help prioritize where we're going to bring additional resources for like cleaning kits. So we're working with partners at American Red Cross and Salvation Army to make sure that cleaning kits get to some of those hardest hit parts of the city. There's a huge demand for those cleaning kits, so we're really trying to be strategic with where we go. And that data for damage reports is the best route to ensure that we know that you need some assistance. You can also use the click to action, as the mayor mentioned, for bulky item pickup, or if you have downed tree limbs in your neighborhood, making sure that if you need additional city resources, the click to action or calling 286 city to get those resources, please use those. I just wanted to stress a couple other key points right now. The health department's monitoring diseases really closely right now, so we're really concerned about enteric and waterborne illnesses. So we've been tracking that since the start of the flooding on Sunday night and haven't seen any additional upticks in cases right now. We're also monitoring people presenting to the emergency departments for GI issues or foodborne illness related issues. Those are the most common diseases that we see uptick during a flooding event. We're also watching the West Nile virus, which is spread by mosquitoes. So blessing and a curse with that, the heavy rain washed out a lot of the potential mosquito larvae across the region. So I think it'll be a little bit of time before we see the mosquito colonies pick up. But we're watching that very closely because we want to ensure that people don't get sick through West Nile virus as well. The last 2 points that I just want to stress are the water right now. If there's standing water in your basement or around a manhole, just assume that it's contaminated with sewage. So please, 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 I've seen a lot of great photos of folks cleaning with boots and gloves. That's the best way to make sure you minimize your risk of getting sick. Wash your hands really well afterwards to make sure that you're not going to catch some sort of disease from those contaminated water. And then the other part to mention is that the city is paying very close attention to the water quality. There has not been any issues with the water to date, but obviously the Waterworks is closely monitoring that. And with that, I think I want to turn to Carly Hagerty, who's our Director of Home Environmental Health. We're here standing in Olidia's, which is one of the many food establishments in our city that was affected by the flooding. And Carly's going to talk a little bit about the department's support to Olidia's as they sought to deal with the flooding that they had in their basement, and offering additional insight into some cleaning tips that we have.
Hey you guys, Carly Hagerty, Director of Consumer Environmental Health. Thank you guys all for being here. I know this is something that I've really wanted to make sure we could amplify and talk about, particularly because we know everybody eats, right? So whether you're at your home or you're going out to eat, my department is always thinking right about food safety and making sure that consumers have what they need to be able to be safe. As you all know, right, we're dealing with flooding, we're also dealing with power outages. It might be both, it might be one or the other. So we started to understand this starting Sunday, right, that businesses were being affected. I believe some of you saw there was this video with Olidia's dealing with significant flooding in their basement kitchen area. And that started to, of course, have us work together, think about what do we need to do to get out to these businesses to make sure that we're providing the resources that they need to open. Olidia's was affected. I would say they are probably the best of the worst case scenario that we're dealing with, right? They're here, they're open and operating, but it wasn't with a lot of work leading up to that point. Both on Olivia's behalf, we give them a lot of credit for taking the initiative, knowing that they needed to close, go through those items, and then working with us when we came on site to just make sure that anything else that needed to be addressed was addressed. So you're probably wondering, like, where do we start with that? And part of it is, okay, if you have standing water, there's probably very little you can do until that standing water has receded and gone away. And so, right, that happens. Now what? Now we're looking at not just your infrastructure, your floors, walls, and ceiling, but anywhere that water could have touched. So if you watch the video, you see there's just a ton of water coming up. It's splashing, it's seeping into spaces. Maybe you come and you didn't see the water standing, it's now receded, and you just know that there was flood water. So how do you address all of that? We really emphasize that businesses need to go through wash, rinse, and sanitizing any equipment that is in their space that is salvageable, right? There may very well be things that have lost power, are no longer working. You just have to discard those, and Lydia's certainly had that happen. We also, of course, know that there's product left over. Maybe it's in cardboard boxes, maybe it's in plastic, and you think it's still safe. We want to talk through that process with you. In a lot of cases, it probably needs to be discarded, and so those are things we want to work with the business on and talk through, or the home. And then certainly, like when you're talking about power outages, food that's in a refrigerator, it's going to be really hard. Most people aren't taking temperatures to know, like, what time did my power to go out? What was the temperature of that product? What time do I need to toss it out? We can talk through that with you. General guidance is, if you just simply don't have any idea and you just know you lost power, after 4 hours I would discard that food unless it's in your freezer and still frozen. When we talk about sanitizing and solutions, just emphasizing the general guidance is 8 ounces of bleach to a 5-gallon bucket of water, right? That's a healthy sanitizer, disinfectant, what you're going to want to use in your space to clean everything down after you've washed, rinsed, and sanitized. Yeah, I think what we're really trying to emphasize is, so Milwaukee has 14 food inspectors throughout the city, and they have been going out to each of their districts to survey the areas. Anywhere that we know that was affected, we are reaching out to those businesses to talk with them, see where they're at. If we can provide guidance, we're providing it. Quite honestly, most of the businesses have been extremely proactive and are already taking the initial steps that they need to move things forward. Others are just not in a place where they're even ready for us to come in and look at and help them with next steps. But having inspectors do that, we've reached out very specifically to businesses who have called us and are actively working with them. We do have several facilities that are simply closed, right? We've issued orders to cease. They know that before they're ready to open, they're going to call us. So I think the main thing I want to emphasize is, I'm talking a lot about businesses. This is also homes that are affected. We know that we lost power in some spaces, myself included. People have been affected by flooding. Think about maybe those refrigerators you have in your basement. A lot of folks have those. You likely needed to toss them out if they were affected by water. But what I would say is call our office. We have staff who are readily available to help with that. The telephone number is 414-286-8327, and that comes directly to my program, so you'll be speaking with staff who can talk to you about all things food safety that you have questions on, and if it's not us, we'll make sure we get you guys to where you need to be. I think that's...
Any questions? How soon can we hear about a decision on federal assistance from President Donald?
We're waiting on the President's administration to give us word about whether or not we're going to receive some FEMA assistance. We all, of course, hope the answer to that is yes. This is a flood event unlike something that we've seen in over a decade here in Milwaukee. So we're very, very hopeful that we'll see that. That's why we encourage folks to help us out with our application for that by calling 211 rather, and reporting flood damage so that we can compile those numbers and get that information over to the administration. We've done the things that we need to do at the local level for that. We've done the things we need to do at the state level for that. That's why the governor was here the other day and declared a state of emergency. I know our federal partners in Senator Tammy Baldwin, Representative Gwen Moore, they're trying to work to make sure that happens. I know that United States Representative Scott Fitzgerald in the 5th Congressional District has encouraged the President to approve some disaster relief for us in southeastern Wisconsin, including in the city of Milwaukee. So I'm very, very grateful to that and grateful to Representative Fitzgerald for doing that. But now we wait. Now we wait for the President's administration to do that.
Mayor, if that, while we wait, if that is not the reality that the FEMA funds come here, is there a backup plan?
Is there a backup plan
For the city of Milwaukee
I mean,
to address?
yeah, the city is doing everything that we possibly can do. I mean, you heard about the efforts from the health department. You've probably seen, and I experienced this morning out with crews at the Department of Public Works, helping to clear the streets of all the flood damaged debris that folks may have in their homes. We have had our staff come in on their days off, working overtime around the clock, opening up opportunities for people to drop off their stuff at our self-help centers. We're doing everything that we possibly can at the local level. We really do need the system to work. And a part of that system is people to access their insurance. But another critical part of that system is for the federal government to do its part when natural disasters like this occur, and that's for FEMA assistance to come in. So we're hoping that the federal government does their part. The city has stepped up, and folks should also use their own insurance too.
Mayor, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the DPW commissioner this morning talked about looking at the hardest hit areas. Commissioner Reyes has talked about that too. Are different or agencies within the city coordinating, right? Or are you all kind of trying to determine this independently?
Yep, Commissioner.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot of demand for support right now, and in working with the County Office of Emergency Management, the city's Office of Emergency Management, all of the departments are sharing data freely. I actually was just on a call with the fire department before the mayor arrived, talking about how we can continue to share that information. And one of the really simple things that we're doing internally is using that 211 data to map to our existing resources and the work that we're doing. The Department of Public Works is going to help us use some of their routing software that they use to do bulk pickup to help us plan how we're going to distribute the cleaning kits out. So we're doing unconventional applications, but the goal is really to keep people accessing the resources that we have and underscoring that 211 data is really guiding what the city can and do. And then as we get, fingers crossed, that money unlocked from the feds, that we can then use that information to prioritize helping someone get a new water heater or whatever that support looks like. But as the mayor mentioned, using your insurance, taking photos is really critical, making sure you remember your timeline for everything. Those are all really key pieces as we go through this claims process. Again, as the mayor mentioned, we are a resilient city and really asking everybody to help each other out with those 211 submissions and helping clear things and bring them to the curb as DPW looks to bring things to the dump.
And when are the cleaning kits going to be distributed? Do you have an ETA on that?
I don't. As you can imagine, every community across the affected parts of Wisconsin are clamoring for kits. So from what I understand, American Red Cross had 600 a couple days ago. I think it was actually yesterday. And Salvation Army had a small cache of them, I think around 100. So that's 700 total kits we're talking about for a county that has 1 million people. So we're again trying to prioritize those areas and essentially looking at the density. So where are all the dots telling us to go? And that again guided by 211 data, guided by where we know there was power outages and other things. So those are kind of the ways that we're using the data to inform where we're going.
On the issue of contaminated water and disease spread, are you, in terms of some of the symptoms and diseases that you mentioned before, have you seen people come into the emergency room presenting with those symptoms, or is this just something you're just monitoring just in case it arises?
We've had one case. We can't definitively say it was related back to the flooding waters, but we're watching that very closely. So there's several ways that we monitor for upticks or outbreaks in enteric or waterborne illnesses. The most common symptom is GI issues, so vomiting and diarrhea, so you would know pretty quickly. Some viruses, you'd experience symptoms with as short as 12 hours to 24 hours. And then in some diseases take up to 10 days to present symptoms. So we're really in that critical period to make sure people start sanitizing their basements. If you have anything that is porous, like a couch or a chair, blankets that were down in the basement that got touched by floodwaters, to just discard those. I think that is your safest route to not get sick.
Mayor Johnson, Governor Evers' office tells us he hasn't made the formal request for this preliminary disaster assessment. You're saying you did. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, my understanding is that that's why the governor was here doing that. Look, we want to make sure that there's a single line of communication here. The state has to make that declaration. I know the governor's been working on this. We'll get that cleared up. But that's why the governor was here the other day. So we'll continue to work with the governor's office in order to make sure, because that's where the declaration has to come from.
Last question. Is there any data, any hard numbers that you can share from 211 Wisconsin of how many calls specifically for the city of Milwaukee that has been made? I know that the data isn't available because calls keep coming in, but are there any numbers or reference?
I don't have that number off top, but yeah, go.
We don't have the call number data, as the mayor mentioned, but there were preliminary damage assessments, and crews are out today. Crews were out yesterday, and I think it was around 650 homes were surveyed yesterday. And we can share some preliminary percentages of the breakdowns, but a third of those homes were in a major damage or worse. And then the Department of Neighborhood Services as well has also surveyed over 600 homes separately, again, for major damage. So they're getting a lot of calls directly as well of homeowners trying to understand if their home is safe, because you might have had a foundation wall collapse in or some serious structural damage. So those are, I think, some initial numbers. From what I understand, there's been over 800 damage reports submitted to 211, and we want to see that number continue to go up, because regardless of whether or not that funding is unlocked, we will still use that information to guide where cleaning kits and additional resources can go after, as we move into this recovery phase.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have the owner available to chat with you guys one-on-one after this. And she can take you down to the storage unit where all that flooding happened.